Hello traders, welcome back to our daily trade journal and market analysis series where I try to journal every session, not just for accountability, but because it helps me spot patterns and mistakes faster. And study shows that you're 3 times more likely to improve when you journal daily. So as a habit, I highly recommend if you want to level up your trading. So for today, I made about $405 trading ES futures. Sleep was around 5 hours. Overall health was kind of meh, but the market gave me some refreshing short opportunities at the resistance after grinding all-time high for a while. Um, I wish I could say this was one of the better performing days, but it wasn't. It was more of a high conviction play that worked out and made money today because last night when we had this huge gap up, I had a resistance up here and I was pretty sure we are going to pull back and have a pull to reversion. So I just kind of kept a pretty heavy short on one ES and just had a pretty big 10-point stop loss from that all-time high there. So eventually we did try to break above it at 2 a.m. I'm guessing that was a stop hunt for all the people that chased the short position too early in this lower range here. But eventually worked out, slept on it, and just let it play out for the day. And by the time I woke up, I had made around $405, and I just kind of closed it out from there. So let's go over the signals for today. Let's see. So today's signals probably weren't as great as we wanted them to be. This morning at 9 a.m. around here, we had a market structure flip bullish, which is somewhat of a false flip because after that, market continued to drop and would keep flooding from there. And then eventually we came to somewhat of a bottom around 940 at 64.24, 25 range, 24.25 range. So if you had been buying the dip based on the bullish market structure, you could have opportunity to sell some here for about 5-10 points, maybe even break even if you average down a little bit more. Otherwise, it would have been a total loss if you held it for longer than the rest of the day. And then 10 a.m., we had a buy signal, and that buy signal was at 64.26 area, and that pushed us up to 64.34, so it's about 8 points. And then 11:21, I mentioned that the market has probably flipped bearish from here based on this big drop. That's indicating that there's a lot of selling volume here. So at this point, we probably want to start shorting the rips. And then over here, 11:43, we had an NQ buy signal that pushed us from 64.25 to 64.28. It's only 3 points. But since we were potentially in bearish structure, you want to use this opportunity to short. So if you short here, could have taken down for 5 points here, 29 to 24. And then by 12:40, so around 12:40 is around here, we had a NQ DD sell signal. These are a little bit more effective. So essentially what this is telling you that there is a lot of market makers unloading positions here, and we're detecting that. So that eventually took us down a little bit further. Then 1:30, we had another DD sell signal, and that took us down further as well from 64.20 to 64.10. So another 10-point move. So these DD signals has been an easily 10-point move kind of trade. So those worked out pretty good. Overall, it looks like the day wasn't that bad if you follow the signals. The only signal that was really bad was probably the first signal of the day that kind of juked a lot of people. But later on the day, things worked out pretty good. Today was in hindsight, it was one of the classic short the rip resistance. I'll show you here. So if you look at this red moving average, if you just short it every time we kind of hit that area, that was the kind of day was where we were in the downtrend day. So we could probably have drawn the trend as well there. Yeah, kind of like that. Or even drag it down a little bit further like that. So interesting day. I would say for tomorrow, the levels to watch is still pretty far away. I would still watch the 63.95 level or 94 area here. This is from previous week's support, and then 63.74. So if we pull back more overnight, which I suspect we might, I would expect that level is gonna hold. If that doesn't hold, then this would be the chop zone between 74 to 94. And then if we lose 74, we will probably go down a lot more. So I hope that helps. Good luck, guys, and have a great trading week ahead.